Welcome to an exploration that dives deep into ancient texts and hidden stories. Imagine for a moment that some of the greatest mysteries of the Bible have been right before us, wrapped in a text that most people have never even heard of. We often think of Moses as the legendary figure who gave us some of the most foundational books of Scripture: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and even the poetic and probing Book of Job. But what if I told you there was yet another book linked to his name that has been hidden away from most of the world for centuries? A book once cherished, revered, and referenced alongside the holiest of texts, but now considered apocryphal by many. Let me take you on a journey into the story of the Book of Jubilees. The Forgotten Genesis, a story retold. The Book of Jubilees is unlike any other. Sometimes called the Little Genesis, it offers a retelling of the familiar biblical stories in Genesis, but with additions that unveil a rich tapestry of forgotten narratives and interpretations. You see, while the Book of Genesis gives us the foundational account of creation, the Book of Jubilees delves deeper. It fills in gaps, answers questions left open, and provides details that have fascinated scholars for generations. Why then did this book, so significant to early Jewish communities and even referenced by the first Christians, become sidelined in the Christian canon? We must turn our gaze to the past, to a time before the Church Fathers defined which books were sacred and which were to be set aside. In ancient Jewish tradition, Jubilees was a text respected and studied. It dates back to at least 2,200 years ago and was considered essential reading for those seeking to understand not just the creation of the world, but the order of time itself. Time in this context was seen through a divine lens, an eternal cycle, with weeks of years and sacred jubilees marking the flow of history. Each jubilee, comprising 49 years, symbolized divine order, a rhythm that echoed the creation week itself. But even more intriguing than the book's structure are the stories it tells. The Book of Jubilees brings to life a world where angels play prominent roles, and where the boundaries between the divine and the mortal blur. It speaks of events that reshape how we think about early biblical history, including the origins of sin, the role of the Watchers, angels who descended and interacted with humanity, and the resulting birth of the Nephilim, beings shrouded in mystery and awe. A tale preserved by a people. While many Jewish and Christian sects moved away from the Book of Jubilees over time, one group held onto it steadfastly: the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. In Ethiopia, this sacred text is known as the Book of Division, and it is preserved in Ge'ez, an ancient Semitic language that holds echoes of a time long past. This version became crucial for historians, especially after the monumental discovery at Qumran. In 1947, the Dead Sea Scrolls, hidden for nearly 2 millennia in the caves of Qumran, were brought to light. Among these ancient manuscripts were fragments of the Book of Jubilees, a revelation that confirmed its widespread use among the Jewish sects living near the Dead Sea, such as the Essenes. These findings validated what the Ethiopian Church had safeguarded for centuries: a version of the text remarkably consistent with the copies found in Qumran, establishing the Book of Jubilees as a genuine link to an ancient tradition of biblical interpretation. What's captivating is how closely this text mirrors the biblical Genesis while introducing layers that make you pause and reconsider. Within its chapters, you find accounts of the patriarchs, from Adam and Eve to Noah and Abraham, told with unique insights and additional context. It describes cosmic and historical events through a lens that blends the earthly and the divine, giving a glimpse into how early Jewish scholars might have understood their world, one steeped in divine intervention and angelic influence. The influence of the Book of Jubilees stretches beyond its retelling of Genesis. It provides a framework for understanding time itself as a sacred construct, governed by divine cycles. This concept of time divided into periods of jubilees resonates with the idea of a grand divine plan where every detail, from the rise and fall of nations to the intimate stories of individuals, is meticulously ordered. This notion challenges the way we perceive the biblical timeline. Rather than seeing history as a series of loosely connected events, the Book of Jubilees portrays it as an intricately woven fabric, each thread placed with purpose. The origin of the Book of Jubilees is said to be steeped in divine revelation. Tradition holds that Moses was given not only the laws and commandments we know today, but also deeper secrets of creation and history during his 40 days and nights on Mount Sinai. It was during this sacred communion that the content of the Book of Jubilees was revealed to him by the angels of God. According to the text, these angels provided Moses with a cosmic account of history and the division of time itself, a structure that would shape the understanding of the world and its sacred order. Echoes of an angelic world. One of the most captivating aspects of the Book of Jubilees is its detailed descriptions of angelic beings and their roles. The book divides angels into classes, each with distinct purposes and duties. It mentions the angels of presence who are closest to God and carry out His will directly. There are also the angels of sanctification, beings whose role it is to maintain the holiness of heaven and the earth. Then come the guardian angels, tasked with the protection of individuals and those who govern the natural phenomena, overseeing the winds, the waters, and the cycles of the earth. These angelic hierarchies echo other ancient texts, such as the Book of Enoch, which similarly delves into the mysteries of divine messengers. It's fascinating to see how these traditions overlap and build upon each other, suggesting a shared or complementary understanding of divine beings in ancient Jewish theology. What stands out in Jubilees is the belief that these angels were present from the very first day of creation, playing an essential role in the divine narrative. The Book of Jubilees doesn't stop at the creation story. It weaves these angelic presences throughout its chapters, detailing their interactions with humanity. One of the most significant and haunting of these tales is that of the Watchers. According to Jubilees, these angels, once loyal servants of the divine, became enamored with the daughters of men. They descended to earth, defying their heavenly station, and took human wives. This union resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, a race of giants whose presence would come to haunt humanity. The story of the Watchers and their offspring is critical to understanding why some ancient texts, including Jubilees, were set aside by later religious authorities. The narrative of divine beings mingling with humans and producing a hybrid race was seen as controversial, raising questions about the nature of sin and divine justice. Yet for those who preserved these stories, such as the Essenes and early Christian theologians, these accounts provided essential context for the struggles between good and evil, purity and corruption. Preservation of a hidden history. The question of why the Book of Jubilees was excluded from the mainstream biblical canon is complex and speaks to the shifting dynamics of religious and political power in the early centuries of Christianity. During the 4th and 5th centuries, pivotal councils like those of Laodicea and Carthage set out to create an official list of sacred texts. These councils aimed to unify the growing Christian faith and establish a clear doctrine. Texts that strayed from what was deemed orthodox or were associated with minority groups or sects often found themselves excluded. Jubilees, with its unique interpretations and detailed cosmology, fell into this category. Its emphasis on angelic hierarchies and the interactions between divine and mortal beings diverged from the developing Christian doctrine, which sought to simplify and unify theological teachings. Additionally, its close association with the Jewish sects, such as the Essenes, who were often viewed as outliers, contributed to its marginalization. The Essenes themselves held beliefs that set them apart from the mainstream Jewish community, including an ascetic lifestyle and an intense focus on apocalyptic visions. Their reverence for the Book of Jubilees suggests that it contained elements they deemed crucial to understanding the divine narrative and their place within it. Despite this exclusion, the Book of Jubilees never faded entirely from religious consciousness. In Ethiopia, Christianity developed along a unique path, largely independent of the doctrinal shifts that shaped Western and Eastern Christianity. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved the Book of Jubilees within its canon, recognizing its value as a sacred text. The Church's commitment to maintaining ancient traditions allowed this work to survive intact, offering scholars and believers alike a window into a version of biblical history that might otherwise have been lost. The version of Jubilees preserved in Ge'ez proved invaluable, particularly after the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. When scholars compared the Ethiopian text with the fragments found at Qumran, they were struck by the fidelity between them. This consistency reinforced the idea that the Ethiopian version was an accurate preservation of the ancient text, providing modern readers with insights into Jewish theology, cosmology, and law as understood more than 2,000 years ago. What makes the Book of Jubilees so intriguing is not just its content but what it represents, a link to a time when Jewish thought was diverse and complex, when the lines between accepted and forbidden knowledge were not as rigid as they would become. Reading Jubilees is like stepping into a world where the familiar stories of the Bible are refracted through a different lens, revealing new colors and dimensions. It is a world where angels converse with men, where time itself is sacred, and where the divine narrative unfolds in ways that challenge and inspire. This rich, layered text asks us to reconsider what we know about the past, about the forces that have shaped religious beliefs, and about the way divine stories are told and preserved. It invites us to look beyond the boundaries set by centuries of theological debate and rediscover the roots of faith as they were once understood, with all their complexities and mysteries. The legacy of Jubilees, influence and mystery. The Book of Jubilees is more than just an alternative retelling of Genesis. It is a testament to the depth of Jewish thought and the theological struggles of its era. To fully appreciate its significance, one must understand how it influenced early religious beliefs and the various interpretations that emerged from its teachings. In its pages, we find clues to the thoughts and hopes of a people grappling with divine mysteries, cosmological questions, and their place in a vast, sometimes unforgiving universe. Among early Christian scholars, the Book of Jubilees was both a source of inspiration and a point of contention. It was cited by prominent early theologians and historians such as Epiphanius, Justin Martyr, and Origen, who saw in it a valuable companion to the canonical scriptures. Its stories and laws provided additional depth to the narratives found in Genesis and Exodus. For those familiar with the story of the great patriarchs, Jubilees offered a richer, more detailed canvas that included not just what happened, but the underlying reasons why events unfolded as they did. For instance, while Genesis speaks of the covenant between God and Abraham, the Book of Jubilees elaborates on this divine pact with intricate details. It describes how the angels themselves delivered instructions and blessings, emphasizing the sacred nature of the agreement. The book also outlines the observance of feasts and the laws of purity in a manner that blends practical religious instruction with cosmic significance. These additions give a new dimension to the idea of divine law, framing it as an eternal, unchanging principle that governs the cosmos and humanity alike. Yet this book's journey was not without peril. As Christianity evolved and sought to delineate clear lines between accepted and non-accepted doctrines, the Book of Jubilees found itself pushed into the periphery. It wasn't just the early Christian church that distanced itself from the book. Mainstream Jewish thought also began to view it with skepticism. By the time the rabbinic traditions of the Talmud took shape, the book was largely set aside, regarded as a product of an earlier, mystical age that no longer fit with contemporary teachings. A glimpse into the divine and human struggle. One of the most captivating and, at times, troubling narratives within the Book of Jubilees is its portrayal of the struggle between good and evil, the divine and the mortal. The story of the Watchers, angels who descend to earth and defy their heavenly nature, represents more than just a tale of rebellion. It is a symbol of the vulnerabilities even divine beings face, echoing the idea that creation itself is an intricate balance of order and chaos. These angels, moved by their desire for human women, disrupt the natural order and bring forth a race known as the Nephilim. The implications of this union are profound. The Nephilim are described as giants, beings of extraordinary strength and knowledge, but they become a force that corrupts the earth, contributing to the sins that lead to the Great Flood. The Book of Jubilees portrays these events with a stark clarity that underlines the severity of divine justice and the lengths to which it will go to restore balance. This story resonates with another ancient text, the Book of Enoch. The two works share common themes and even reference each other, creating an interconnected web of ancient Jewish thought. The fallen angels, their descent, and the catastrophic consequences that follow provide a context that sheds light on why God's judgment in the flood narrative was so severe. It wasn't just humanity's wickedness that warranted the cleansing of the world, but the mingling of divine and mortal lines, an affront to the established order of creation. But why were these accounts, so integral to understanding early Jewish and Christian perspectives on sin and redemption, left out of the canon? The answer, in part, lies in the gradual shift toward a more streamlined, cohesive religious doctrine. As religious leaders sought to establish uniformity in belief and practice, texts like Jubilees that contained elements of mysticism and angelic lore posed a challenge. They were harder to interpret. Their themes strayed into the mystical and the cosmic, and they often required a level of allegorical understanding that did not fit neatly with the emerging orthodoxy. The Ethiopian Connection. What sets the Book of Jubilees apart is its survival through the diligent preservation by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. This church, with its deep roots and rich traditions, holds onto an array of texts that were dismissed by other branches of Christianity. The Ethiopian Canon is unique in that it contains books like Jubilees and Enoch, presenting a broader picture of biblical literature that aligns more closely with the beliefs and practices of ancient Jewish communities. The significance of this preservation cannot be overstated. When the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered and fragments of the Book of Jubilees came to light, scholars were able to compare them with the Ethiopian version preserved in Ge'ez. What they found was remarkable. A near-perfect alignment that confirmed the Ethiopian text's authenticity. This discovery was a testament not just to the accuracy of the ancient Ethiopian scribes, but to the enduring value the Church placed on these ancient narratives. For many in Ethiopia, the Book of Jubilees is more than a historical document. It is a living text that informs their understanding of divine law, human history, and cosmic order. The Book of Division, as it is called there, outlines not only the origins of humanity but the sacred cycles of time, marked by jubilees and holy observances. In a world where so much of religious history has been standardized, Ethiopia's preservation of this text offers a rare window into an older, more multifaceted vision of faith. A rediscovery of faith's roots. Today, the Book of Jubilees stands as a reminder of the diversity that once existed within early Jewish and Christian thought. It reveals a time when the lines between canon and apocrypha were not so firmly drawn, when questions about the nature of angels, the timeline of history, and the interactions between heaven and earth were explored openly. For those who dare to read it, the book is an invitation to expand their understanding of biblical history and the depth of ancient religious beliefs. It challenges the modern reader to see beyond the familiar and step into a world where the spiritual and the physical intertwine, where time is not just a measurement but a divine cycle, and where the stories of patriarchs are enriched with insights that go beyond simple narrative. The Book of Jubilees is more than a lost text. It is a testament to the complexity of the human search for meaning, the struggle to understand the divine, and the desire to preserve the stories that shape our faith. In rediscovering the Book of Jubilees, one reconnects with a piece of sacred literature that has defied the passage of time. It is a work that holds the whispers of angels, the echoes of patriarchs, and the silent, steady beat of divine cycles that continue to shape our understanding of the world. Whether regarded as scripture, history, or an ancient curiosity, the Book of Jubilees remains a bridge to an era of sacred exploration, a testament to the enduring mystery of faith. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time if you are still with me, and if you would like, please think about subscribing to our channel. You may then receive updates on new videos that will provide you with additional knowledge, manifestations, philosophy, and personal development ideas. Your thoughts and opinions regarding this video would be much appreciated. Your contribution stimulates our cosmic research, and we are incredibly appreciative of your being here. And never forget that we are always here for you and wish you the best possible life filled with success and happiness. I hope you have an amazing day. If you have watched until the end, please respond with MMM, Master Motivational Mindset, so we can connect.